Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jeffery Combs on a beautiful, sunny afternoon as we near the end of February, year of our Lord 2025. Very inspiring times to be alive. So good to be here with you on Tuesday, Facebook Live. It is a little after 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So powder blue and gold today, the GMS colors. So if you're just joining me today, I have a great Facebook Live on focus and discipline, preparation, execution. So good to be here with you on Tuesday, Facebook Live. Just cleaning off the little standard. David Hammer, good to see you. Danielle Vaughn, good to be here with you. And Danielle, thank you for joining me. How did you find me? Or how did any of you find me here today? So have great content on focus and discipline. Discipline being a disciple of. What am I reading right now? I read this morning, Emmett Fox, Around the Year with Emmett Fox, and a great section on the 17th. Love this topic, Cast the Burden, right there. So this is a book, if you buy this book or own this book, Emmett Fox was a writer, specifically writing his best content in the 30s. He wrote the world-renowned book Sermon on the Mount that has been a main staple of all 12-step groups for years. And then that book was also a spiritual Christian book written on those specific topics. So Daniel, Josh, okay, thank you for joining. So for those of you who have not ever heard of Emmett Fox, I am 68 years old. I've been reading content since I was a teenager, starting off with the book, The Teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda. That was one of my first spiritual books back in the day. So the Josh Waxman team, good to have all of you here this afternoon. Tomas, good to see you. Tomas is crushing the videos, as is David Hammer. David and Tomas, I'm actually following your content. So I want you to know that I'm a fan, a fanatic of yours, and good to have both of you. And Jared, you as well. I mean, Josh Waxman is absolutely the man. So Josh referred me a man who he met on a plane, and he said that Josh changed his life in 2 hours. So for those of you who are in Josh Waxman's team, here's living testimony of the leader that you are following. I was coaching a client today, and right as I was finishing my call, a phone call comes in from 817, and the man lets me know that he met Josh on an airplane, and that the 2 hours he spent with Josh on an airplane changed his life, and he hired me to be his coach. So that is the value of a leader and leader grower. So those of you who are becoming leaders in that team, congratulations, because that's what a leader does. A leader teaches leadership skills, and then the next level of that is mentoring and mentorship, and you will have that opportunity. Today I'm going to cover, this is the syllabus, this is how I write the call out, the Facebook Live. It's a 7-point bulletin. And then if you're on my email list, this is what you get via email right here. So if you are not on my email list, you can go to goldenmastermind.com. That is my website, and you can also fill out a form for a free 20-minute coaching session. So if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, you can receive that from me, and you're not obligated to buy from me. So even if you don't have the finances, at least experience a 20-minute call with me, and I really appreciate you. Yuritsa, thank you for all of your awesome endorsements. I'm absolutely honored to do that. Aaron, thank you for all of your endorsements as well. Leaders and Leaders Growing. Nikos, thank you for joining me. Nikos, I have coached Nikos once upon a time back when he was in the Ukraine and in Canada. Nikos, loyal follower. So good to be here with you. So Brittany, good to see you. Good to see all of you this afternoon. Let's move into the content of today's Facebook Live. I'll also be back here at 9 p.m. Pacific. So my name is Jeffery Combs. I've been out there imparting wisdom and free enterprise for 27 years. So for those of you who followed me for a number of years, I launched my coaching speaking career in September of 1998, and I've coached over 10,000 10,000 clients, 100,000 hours. Topic for today's Facebook Live is focus and discipline. So hocus pocus, I'm now in focus. Well, that's an affirmation. But focus is my ability to finish task. Focus is my ability to put energy into outside influence and then be able to complete the committed task. And so when you're focused, it's a relaxed focus, not an intense focus, because then when you're intense, oftentimes that intensity comes from anger. So you want to be in a relaxed focus. What will take you out of focus is the emotion of being overwhelmed. It means you're over obligating, you're enabling, you're doing too much for others. You don't have clear boundaries, and this is a byproduct of being codependent from the events that you grow up in. So if you became a parent to your parents as a child, or you had to step up to the plate as a child and be a grown-up like I did, you lost your innocence and you would lose your childhood. If you're still as a grown man or woman and you're still rescuing your family or rescuing your parents out of their own desperation, and then you feel guilty and resentful, this can greatly affect your focus. Then the educational platform, coupled with the Rothschild banking cabal that many of you are learning about through Josh and Infinite Banking, and I'm the one who taught this. I didn't teach Josh Infinite Banking, but I taught him about the agenda, the NWO, and what goes deep down the rabbit hole. So I opened that door to him when he was 19 years old, and he is unequivocally my best student at understanding the same content I do. So understand this, a lot of your focus is a byproduct of the bad food that was created through the Rothschild Rockefeller cabal. And the food industry is owned by BlackRock. And the more you understand this, and then so the food you consume, and then when you step into the educational system, which is also a Rockefeller Foundation, because they took over the medical platform in the 20s and did away with holistic science and holistic medicine, naturopathic medicine, and pointed us toward what are called petrochemicals, which are petroleum, gasoline, methamphetamine, heroin, and cocaine. And so that's what creates BP, big, and you can fill in the P word. So right there, good to see you this afternoon. So when you're on that type of medication, and when you're on antibiotics and these type of medications, it's going to affect your focus. Then trauma will affect your focus. The physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the emotional abuse will affect your focus. Then the schooling system, so if you get singled out and diagnosed with the acronyms ADD, ADHD, and all these other situations, then it's going to affect your focus, because it begins to affect your belief. So if you're called names, if you're called a dumb child, a slow child, if you're held back, any multitude of situations, and then if you're told you have a learning disability, well, as a business owner, you don't require any of that. You don't require a PhD. You don't even require a public high school diploma. You get the acronym PhD, public high school diploma. You don't require education. You require inspiration. You require courage. You require grit. You require intestinal fortitude. It doesn't matter what your grade point was. I mean, college to me, I have a college degree. I went to Northwest Missouri State University, a state school right outside of Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a proud Bearcat. I graduated with, my grade point average wasn't that good. It was 3.1 after 4 years. I played college basketball for 2 years. I was an addict all the way through college. My entire 20s were a fog. I didn't really have any focus myself until I was 32 years old. Because at 31 years old, 17 months and 18 days, God had a plan for me. I became clean and sober. And once I entered into sobriety, my focus changed. My focus in early sobriety was being sober. That was my entire focus. My day was consumed with being sober. That was it. Sober. I had a sales job and I was able to make quota, but sobriety became my focus. Then relatively quickly, I moved into exercise. So I began to exercise 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. So I started to find that focus again. Then I realized that I wasn't cut out for having a job. What I have a job for anyway? I never wanted to have a job. I only had a job to pay the bills. I quit my job quickly and focused on free enterprise. Herbalife was my first direct sales network marketing company, and that's when I fell in love with the great Jim Rohn. I started focusing on his content. I started focusing on, I started reading spirituality. I became a Christian. I started to accept God, and I focused on living a good life. That became my focus in my early sobriety and my early entrepreneurship. My focus was exceptional in building businesses, but I was not skilled at attracting leaders. So I spent 8 years going through the up to down staircase of a series of direct sales network marketing companies. I was in a company once with Kevin Trudeau, the great Kevin Trudeau, in a company called Nutrition for Life. Tom Schreider, the great Tom Schreider, was one of the owners of that company. Big Al Schreider, I had all of his books, went to his seminars. I followed Jim Rohn. I was very focused on that content. But the game really changed for me in 1996 when I started listening to an audio cassette called Prosperity Consciousness. And that was the first time I'd ever heard the term your dialogue with money. So your dialogue with money will be a direct reflection of your ability to create, manifest, receive, and manufacture money. So when you start to put a focus on how to create money through service and value, when you start to have a focus on being a people person, when you have a focus on being able to be your best self, your emotional state will begin to change. And so your focus right now, this is what I suggest. Day to day, your focus is on being my best self. And so best self meaning free of guilt, free of shame, and free of any worries of being selfish. Being able to put yourself first without being overwhelmed, without feeling guilty, without feeling selfish, so that you can focus on your emotional sobriety. So for those of you who are sober, congratulations. And sobriety in my context for you today is emotional sobriety. Emotional sobriety begins with focusing on being good enough. Number one, being good enough and being lovable. Accessing and creating the courage to be able to look at yourself objectively through rigorous honesty and look at your character defects and ask God to lift those character defects from you by surrendering this will that you hold on to be right. And to be right is really to be wrong, because when you focus on that energy, you're going to be in conflict, you're going to be angry, you're going to hold yourself back, and you're not going to be your best self. So a lack of focus is a direct reflection of brain fog, trauma, and the emotion of overwhelm. And as you become better at letting go and separating your feelings, Brian, so let's give Ryan a hand, 49 days clean and sober. That definitely deserves an interrupt. So anyone that ever posts their sobriety with me, that's a hug and a high five. Congratulations, because that requires courage. Courage number one, to be sober. Courage number two, to be able to state in front of a live audience that you are sober. And you're not an anomaly, you are one of us. And we are a culture of our own. We practice sobriety, recovery, and higher consciousness. And we tend to lean toward free enterprise because we don't fit in with jobs. When you realize that you do not have a job mentality and you can move into being self-employed, and your business is not a job. Don't ever say the word job with business around me, because I'll point out to you it's your business in free enterprise. And so for those of you who have the courage, number one, courage is number one. Number two is acceptance. You accept where you are right here, right now. You accept that you're here, you're present, and you have the courage to let go. Number three is willingness. You have the willingness to change. These are all components of focus. As you start to develop the willingness to change and let go, you can focus on being your best self. And when you're focused, you're going to learn a set of skills that will follow you through life. And these skills that will follow you through life will allow you to create commerce in free enterprise. It will allow you to live a good life. And I also want to commend Grace. Grace says, Jeff, almost 6 years total sobriety today, no alcohol, 10 years. Let's give Grace a hand. That is amazing. So I am in recovery of codependency, drugs, alcohol, chronic debting, pathological lying. I had so many addictions that I was addicted to being addicted. And so that's a very common commonality, because that's a component in honesty when you're able to be clear with yourself, admit your character defects, ask God to lift them from you, and live day to day in a relaxed body in rigorous honesty. One of the most important components of focus is honesty. Because when you're honest, you can be focused. You can't be focused in denial, because your lower self ego will make stories up. and you'll create excuses for yourself, then you'll procrastinate and avoid being your best self. So a procrastinator avoids being their best self because they have acute anxiety about being responsible. And this is one of the main reasons I could never get sober, because I couldn't be responsible for, I lost all sense of responsibility. I lost all focus. And when the brain fog began to lift, I started to focus. I said, I can't do this anymore. I want to be a millionaire. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live in these tiny little apartments. I don't want to drive beat up cars anymore. I don't want to be ashamed of the way I live anymore. I don't want to live on $50 a week budget. I want to live the good life. And so when I started listening to Jim Rohn, he would ask this question back in the late 80s and early 90s, what constitutes the good life? For those of you who do not know who Jim Rohn is, write this down, R-O-H-N, Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. You can find his videos on YouTube. There's also a man on Instagram, Prophet School TV. If you'll scroll down, way down, he has multiple Jim Rohn videos from back in the day in his Herbalife days when he was speaking for the direct sales company Herbalife. So lack of focus is also a lack of discipline. So this is a two-part equation today in my Facebook Live for you. So it's discipline and focus. So the discipline means you have the ability to make your bed. And when you make your bed, you do not half-ass it, because making your bed is discipline. Even though it sounds so inconsequential to many people, if you can't make your bed in the morning, then what else are you blowing off today? I mean, is the sink full of dishes? I mean, is your house a disaster? Or is everything stuffed in your closet? Can you get your car in your garage? Do you even have a car, if you even have a car? I mean, are you, how disciplined, disciple, D-I-S-C-I-P-L-E, are you a disciple of having a system, having a method, having a routine? Or are you a chronic winger? So if you're a chronic winger, winging it means you have no system, you have no routine. You're just out there day to day winging it. You just show up and you don't have any system, you don't have a routine. So when you should be meticulous in the way you dress, the way you groom yourself. It means you have, in discipline, you start to take a look at who you are. You start to take a level of accountability in who you are. You're not just throwing your things on together. And I mean, I wear shorts and a polo 7 days a week, white socks and a pair of Nikes. And I mean, I suit up every single day. That is my uniform. And I'm very, very meticulous about how I look, how I dress, the way my office looks, the way my desk looks. And if anyone calls me ADD or ADHD, well, they have no idea who I really am. I'm disciplined, I'm focused, I have a system, I have a routine, I have a method, and I have a way to be and stay a millionaire in a relaxed body 7 days a week for the last 29 years. And you want to be able to say that about yourself. You have a system, a routine, and a method. A system, a routine, and a method. I meal prep every Sunday. I lay out 4 meals in front of me. I'm a man of habitual habits, and you want to have good habits, not bad habits. I lived those for years, and now I'm absolutely living in rigorous honesty. Wayne Clark, good to see you. So it's good to see Charles Howell, good to see you. Grace, always good to see you. So content for today is focus and then being disciplined. Do you exercise? I mean, these are just a couple of just simple situations that I'm going to ask you to ask yourself. Do you make, once again, as inconsequential as it sounds, are you skilled at making your bed? Skilled. Do you make your bed and does it look amazing when you finish? If it looks amazing, then you have discipline. Do you pull the sheets up tight at the end? Do you tuck them down underneath? Do you spread it out like this? Do you fluff the pillows so it looks amazing? When you step back from your bed in the morning, I do it at 4 o'clock in the morning, my bed looks immaculate. And that's the way I step into my day every single day. Because the way you make your bed determines the way your day is. I swear to my God, as coaching for 27 years, I'll ask countless people, do you make your bed? And I can tell a lot when they go, and then here we go, excuse-itis. It's a dis-ease that many people live in. So making your bed is discipline. Do you exercise in the morning? Do you do it? But you don't exercise to get it over with. You exercise to have your body moving, and you move your body. Exercise can be simple. Tori, good to see you. Michelle, good to see you. Alexis, good to be here with you. But exercise meaning you can walk 20 minutes a day. I spend 20 minutes a day on my spin bike, and I do it at 4:20 in the morning. I have a stopwatch, and then I read books like this. I read this morning, Emmett Fox, around a year with Emmett Fox. I read that at 4:20 this morning. I also read all the controversy on Tom Hanks. I could way go down the rabbit hole in that situation. Just look at his bloodline, who his bloodline is. And I'll give you a clue. It starts with the R. So I watched that this morning, and so I catch up on Truth or Patriot content at 4:20, from 4:22 to 4:45. I'm watching Truth or Patriot content on Instagram. That's where I don't ever watch news. I would never watch MSN, but I find out from people that I know that are in the know the content that I'm seeking. Then at 4:45, I step into a steam room, and at 5 o'clock, I start my day. And I start my day at the same time every day. I meal prep every day. I mean, all my meals are laid out. I do 4 meals in a row. I dine out 2 nights in a row. Do you have a grocery list? I mean, even though this isn't specific business, this is life that mimics business. Because your business should be the way you run your life. It should be no separation from them, because you're focused, you're disciplined, then you have the ability to prepare and execute. Preparation, execution is the second phase of focus and discipline. And when you start to bring these 4 pieces together, you're going to start to own a business. And when you own a business, don't ever say you have a job. You don't have a job. You own a business. If you have a job, you're going to get paid what the job is worth. If you own a business, you can create what the free market will bear. There isn't any one of you on this Facebook Live today that does not have the ability to create 7 figures in a calendar year. This is why I know this, because I've lived it. I'm from a tiny town in southwest Iowa, right in the corner of Missouri. So I grew up in 2 areas. I grew up in Maryville, Missouri, and Clarinda, Iowa. Look them up. They're on the map. One's below Omaha and one's above Kansas City. That's where I grew up, that area. No one mentored me. No one took me under their wing. I didn't get a special degree at a college. I don't have a master's degree. I don't have a degree in business. I don't have a degree in counting. I have a degree in street sense. Street Sense 101, Discipline 102, Production 103, Mastery 104, Money 105, Millionaire Mentality 106, and 107, Living the Good Life. So that's the classes that I've studied for the last 37 years. So Discipline 101, Production 102. That's the 2 classes that I've been studying, because that's you. If you want to be paid, be compensated, what the free market will bear, it will require these 4 components that I've covered for you today. It will require focus. Number 2, it will require discipline. Number 3, preparation. Number 4, execution. So your day is prepped. You walk into your day and you know who to be and what to do every single day, and you do it over and over. That is called repetition and experience. And if you have a business that requires sales and marketing skills, the more that you practice your sales and marketing skills, now you're going to start to create the repetition. The repetition is what allows you to create the separation. As you begin to separate yourself from your anxiety, fear, and doubt, then you're no longer the mind-body connection to not being good enough. You're not overwhelmed, and now you start to develop the ability to focus, because the brain fog is lifting. Now, the brain fog is a byproduct of unresolved trauma, and the brain fog is a byproduct of your hippocampus, which enlarge, your prefrontal cortex, which enlarges, and your amygdala, which shrinks. And so there's the pinball machine that's going on in there. The pinball is bouncing around in there. And that's what your overwhelmed feelings are about, is that trauma bond panic pattern from unresolved events that keep you in this overwhelmed brain fog. It's what I specialize in my one-on-one coaching, assisting people, the inner skill of letting go, which is mastery. And once you start to address the anxiety, the fight or flight reaction, then you're starting to let go of the events that shape those feelings, which allows you to create focus. It's not that you don't have the ability to be focused. If your focus challenges are not because you have ADD or ADHD, you have unresolved issues and events that are unresolved that your body continues to hold on to, creating a trauma bond and a panic pattern. I've been assisting people to let go of this for the last 27 years. My name is Jeffery Combs, living in the solution. So live in the solution. My name is Jeffery Combs, president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, 68 years young, bringing it to you on a Tuesday afternoon on a breathe, release, and let go day. And I'm deeply honored to have all of you on today's Facebook Live. If you're new to my content, you like the content, hit the blue like button or the red love button, and it'll bring you into my news feed more frequently. I've been shadow banned for the last several days, weeks, and months, and I'm just now coming off of that. So it's awesome to see many of you out here today. So much gratitude, much love. Have a great afternoon. I'm going to hit the replay button. You have a great afternoon. Bye.